Hello and welcome everyone, I am Madals, this is Heart of the Swarm, and the players are about to get introduced to you. It's going to be a ZVP. In the top right position we have the red Protoss player from Team Dignitas, it is DreAm. His opponent down in the lower left, for TT Esports it is the blue Zerg, PiG. So, PvZ, I know that DreAm isn't a big fan of this matchup, and therefore I'm interested to see what he's going to be throwing at PiG. PiG, I haven't actually cast much of his games in Heart of the Swarm. I don't think I've actually cast one of them yet, so this is all pretty exciting to me because I have, in all honesty, no clue about what is actually going to be happening. So, yeah, all is going to be exciting. It should be, out of DreAm, from this pylon, some kind of either a Nexus first or a Forge first. PiG, much more likely, going to be going for a spawning pool at around 15, then his hat tree straight after, probably then into a quick third. And DreAm, they're saying, where are you from? And indeed, hard to say because DreAm is Chinese, currently in the UK studying, and plays for Team Dignitas. So that's a little bit of background on DreAm, who of course I covered in Dignitas Week, which you can find all of that. So yeah, in terms of strategy, it looks like DreAm will be going for a Nexus first opening, just because he hasn't started the Forge yet. So that is all fine, everything is looking good. Meanwhile, for PiG, he's up to 15 supply, he's nearly got 200 minerals, so just waiting. There we go. See, ooh, it's not gonna, he's gonna go hatch first. Ooh. Now, that may seem like something I'm getting way too excited about, but the reason I'm really a bit shocked that it's a hatch first is because you're always at risk of a cannon rush. Always, always, always. Luckily, of course for PiG, DreAm is going to be going Nexus first, so it's a bit of a gamble at the end of the day. It's just, I think on Daybreak, because it's a big map, my opponent will Nexus first, but if DreAm had gone Forge first, had come over and scouted and saw that it was a hatch first build out of PiG, he could have chucked down pylons, back here, cannon, cannon, and then just chuck what actually would have been around here, much more likely. But still, that could have potentially been a bit of an issue. We'd see the Overlord coming in though, getting a nice little scout out, seeing that, hey, we got a Forge there, we got a Nexus there, and everything is going as we would expect in terms of standard play. And standard is of course a good thing, because that means that we'll be going into a nice mid-game. We should see some good composition, some good army movements, and all of those good shenanigans. So, while we're waiting for that, remember, of course, ladies and gentlemen, that if you do like my casting, make sure that you like the video, leave a cool comment, and of course subscribe to my YouTube channel, because I get games up every single day of the week. That's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Every day of the month, every day of the year. At least one, usually multiple games a day. So if you want to watch lots of cool StarCraft, yeah, that kind of paints the picture. So, third base coming down. When did that hit? That came in just before the 4-minute mark, so that is good news, because that's when you want to be getting in really economical builds from both of these players. They're really focusing on getting to the mid-game as fast as they can. DreAm now with the double assimilator. In terms of DreAm's mid-game strategy, I know that he's not a big fan of Sky Toss. He finds it very, very boring, and therefore it's unlikely to be going for that. So other compositions he could be going for is probably going to revolve around the Mothership Core, because ultimately the Mothership Core is such a powerful unit for Protoss in the earlier mid-game. It allows you to be aggressive, especially towards the third base. I've seen some great plays by, I believe it was Baby Knight against TLO that the game was in. I could be wrong there, but a Protoss player against the Zerg coming in here with a lot of Blink Stalkers on the Mothership Core, harassing this third base, and even if you don't get it down, well, guess what? You've done some good damage. You forced a lot of units out of the Zerg player. And as such, they've got a reduced drone count. All you have to worry about is really speedlings surrounding you if you go Blink Stalker. But with the Mothership Core there, you can use mass recall and you can get back to safety without taking very many losses. But that's only in the event that you get completely surrounded. If you don't, you can micro your heart out, you can be very cost effective, be very aggressive. And we see now that the Mothership Core has just started. No Chrono Boost going down yet, but I'm sure that there will be one following up. Meanwhile, additional gateways being added on. No sign of tech though at all, nor is there any sign of upgrades. No +1 started or anything like that. For PiG, he's happily just getting up his first 2 gas now, around 45 supply, a normal time to be getting those, and as such we're just going to be seeing a lot of drones, and that is nothing wrong with that at all. The third base up, injecting off of all 3 bases, only sitting there on 3 queens at the moment, but now getting up that Rotor on about 630, 640 mark. ready to be safe from any of that early aggression that you could be seeing. But DreAm, he's going for a lot of gateways. That is a grand total of 6, added to the one he's already got, makes 7, but the Overlord does see all. So this is going to be very aggressive. There comes down the 4 pylon. The Zealot and Stalker already going with a little bit of aggression, trying to poke in. The Speedlings do get this round on the Zealot. That's frustrating because it will go down before any Zerglings do die. But Piggy's got a good number of units out. This proxy pylon probably going to be forced to cancel, but as we can see now, the Mothership Core doing a nice amount of damage, racking up a couple of kills of its own. It doesn't do a huge amount, but it does certainly help. The Creep Tumor does get taken out and not cancelled, so it can't keep spreading. That is going to be very frustrating. The proxy pylons are coming down everywhere. The gateways are now complete. We've got some roaches on their way out. This Stalker desperately trying to run away back to safety. The Zerglings are more worried about this forward pylon. But unfortunately, the Warpin probably going to come down any second. There we go, 6 more Stalkers on their way. Blink is not researched. There's no Twilight Council down. So it's just purely Stalkers being a little bit aggressive, poking, prodding. Speedlings could potentially get us around. You can arch around the back and try and get in. But we see a probe being left there just to keep an eye out for that. The third base is taking quite a lot of damage. We've got more units coming out. The Spine Crawlers are down, but losing this third hat could be a massive loss for Pig at this stage of the game. And we see DreAm getting out more Zealots, getting out more Stalkers. But here come the units. He's got to try and go for it now before that hatchery dies. A Time Warp being used. That does not leave enough energy for a mass recall though, so this is a bit more of a commitment now, but preventing the retreat of the roaches means the Zealots are able to close up the distance, and suddenly we see DreAm able to do a nice amount of damage. The Spine Crawler trying to pick and prod away, but the next wave of Warpins is going to be very potent. More Speedlings trying to get produced, more roaches getting produced, more Zealots on their way out to tank up some of this damage. The hatchery only at 190 health could get taken down very quickly. It'd be like one volley from those Stalkers. The Spine Crawlers evaporate very quickly. We see the roaches are taking a lot of damage. The Mothership Core does now fall, and that is a bit of a loss because obviously you need that for the extra support. The Queen doing a good job there, can go home proud, deserves a medal or something. But more Zealots warping in, more aggression coming, and all this while, Pig has produced nothing but units, which means his worker count is only at 38, equal to that of DreAm. So while this push does get stopped for the moment, and while the hatchery does still stay up, DreAm, he can keep putting on this relentless pressure. It's always worth him just pushing forward and trying to get a volley off onto the hatchery. It's getting ever so low, 150 health. This is ridiculously close. DreAm is not wanting to give up yet, but as the mass of roaches and Zerglings increases, DreAm will further and further have to start moving back. That force field was trying to stop a bit of retreat, but doesn't manage to catch anything quite. But of course the Stalker's still coming back and forward, doing the dance of death with the roaches and Zerglings. Nothing trying to loop around, nothing behind this, just 2 additional gas coming out now for DreAm, taking his 3rd and 4th, and also getting a robotics facility up there we see. So just transitioning out of this now, he's put on a good amount of pressure. He knows he's kept his opponent's worker count very low, and all he's got to do is make sure that he holds off any counter push. And retreating now, these proxy pylons will go down. These two are unbeknown to Pig at the moment, so unless he spots them, they won't die, but he should now find both. There we go. So that's good news. They will die. Looking here, Overlord just coming to check, make sure there's no 3rd base, because a lot of Protoss players are favouring taking a quick 3rd against Zerg, but it can't really be done when you've got these 7 gates out, so nothing too surprising. A good defensive position though, needs some more sentries added in for the force fields, but generally speaking, Piggy's got to come for some counter aggression. Even though he's getting 12 drones out now, he's only going to catch up with the worker count, and that is problematic, because DreAm with a good income is going to be able to produce an awful lot of units. Protoss players generally don't need as much money to get a powerful army as, say, Zerg do, because their units are weaker, but what we do know is this counter push could potentially be very threatening. Upgrade-wise, though, none. There are no upgrades. Speed isn't even done. I realised that I said speed earlier, but it's still 10 seconds away from completion. The wall-off is down. We do have 1, 2, 3 sentries out, 4 getting warped in as well, so some force fields can start coming down, preventing some of that push. The Mothership Core there as well doesn't have enough energy yet for a photon overcharge, needs another 30 energy, but we can see Pig being forced back for the time being. He's droned heavily behind this, up to 56 to the 47 workers of DreAm, but DreAm with +1, also getting out the observers. He's just trying to get good map vision, get an idea of what's happening. The 5th and 6th gas have not yet been taken for Pig. Instead, just happily sitting on 4. He's getting up his +1 missile attack, so probably going to be going into Hydras in the mid-game. We've also got outcoming the roach speed upgrade, but this is the important thing for DreAm. The Robotics Bay Colossi are going to start getting produced, but the Overseer are going to come in and see everything perfectly, and that is what you want. Once you get this scouting information, you know, actually I can be pretty comfortable, I can be pretty safe. Some Stalkers getting warped in, a single Changeling was dropped there and is apparently at 1 with that assimilator. The Overseer should be able to push its way through. Meanwhile, we do have the hallucinated Phoenix getting a scanning information for DreAm. Sees that actually it's just an awful lot of roaches. That may trigger him to get out a couple of Immortals. We'll wait to see. Yep, there we go. So Immortal is already out. A second one gets started straight away. That third hatchery is still looking so incredibly vulnerable. If only there was a pylon still up here, a Zealot warp in would knock that out very easily. DreAm moving forward now, looking to take his third base. The Overlord is generating creep there, so it will delay it a little bit, but it's not completely spread, I don't think. So it will take probably just under a minute to recede. Meanwhile, the Spire is on its way. Gonna probably be going into either Muta or just getting some Corruptors out in order to deal with those Colossi when they start hitting. The first one half done, extended Thermal Lance just starting, as well as the +1 armor. So where does that leave us? Who's winning with the upgrades? Well, to be honest, it's DreAm. We see the +1 missile attack is about to finish up, which will level things out, but the missile attack only benefits the roaches, so those 22 Zerglings have no upgrades at all, which is less beneficial. But with the +1 ground attack, that means that Zealots will two-shot those Lings. Very important thing to note. The Twilight Council also being added into this composition, +2 missile attack coming down, as well as the Infestation Pit. That could just be to go up to Hive in order to get Broodlords out. It could also be to get out Infestors or Swarm Hosts though. So DreAm happily now starting his third Nexus, but right in time with that, Pig has just completed his 4th base, so it does keep him a base ahead. The worker count is looking 65 to 49, so Pig not as far forward as we might expect. 64 workers now, so needs to go for another drone wave, because ideally, as a Zerg player, you want to be above that 74 worker mark at this stage of the game. 15 minutes in, you're going to need more money if you're going to be really doing a lot with these Corruptors, which inevitably will probably become Broodlords once the Greater Spire starts after the Hive finishes. Blink coming down as well, so this is being a bit passive now, both players wanting to just macro up. So let's recap in what we've seen so far. DreAm went for a very aggressive 2-base 7-gate play using the Mothership Core to harass into the 3rd base, and while he wasn't able to take out the hatchery, he was able to force an awful lot of units from the Zerg player. And when you're making units, you're not making drones, which kept them on equal workers for a long period of time, and therefore TT's Pig was had to go for a counter-attack, but he was unable to deal any significant damage with that counter-push. And therefore, DreAm was in a nice spot. But now with his 3rd base up and the 4th base up, we're really getting into the late game, and it's all going to be in their late game compositions. More Corruptors are being added in. The first few Colossi are hitting the field. We've got one out. The second one hasn't been started yet. Instead, getting more Immortals to deal with this Roach Force. But Corruptors are going to start trying to pick off at the Mothership Core, and it is most likely going to go down, and that dies. That is a bit of a loss. The Time Warp could have been very useful, just preventing those Roaches from escaping, etc. And the Photon Overcharge just for a little bit of additional damage. But now with the Templar Archives down, is this going to be used purely just for getting out a couple of Archons? Is there going to be Storm in case, of course, there were Swarm Hosts out? But nope, looks like just going to be happily going about his business, not getting too much. Vipers now on the way out for Pig, so that is an interesting choice. That's going to allow him to abduct a lot of these Colossi or power units such as the Immortals out of the main army, try and snipe them off with his Roaches before they're able to do much from the back lines. So as we're seeing now, Proxy Pylon's getting taken out. We do have a Warp Prism coming in for a drop though. What is DreAm going to warp in? Nothing, because after losing that Pylon, he is supply blocked. That is frustrating for him. Corrupt is likely to be coming over to try and deal with that, but DreAm, he's maneuvering his way around. They are very even in terms of the supply count. When you take the work count, and the work count is actually exactly equal. So there is only 4 supply difference between these two right now. This is incredibly, incredibly close. And as such, I just don't know which way it's going to go. The thing for DreAm is he's got a lot of Immortals, he's got out that Colossus, whereas Pig, he's just really sitting there with a lot of Roaches. There's not even Hydras in there, just some Corruptors and also the Vipers for the Abduct. So this could be very, very interesting. Blinding Cloud is also a possibility to negate some of the effect of the Stalkers. But we will have to wait and see what is actually going to happen, because these two both maxed out. Now some Archons are going to be the final addition to DreAm's army. Pig moving up. Upgrade-wise, we are looking at +2 against 2-1. So the upgrade advantage for the Protoss player, though. And that is very significant. +3 weapons also coming out. And here we go. Looks like we're going to have the engagement. The Colossus is doing some nice damage. Gun Shield going down. And there's the Blinding Cloud, stopping a lot of DreAm's army from being able to engage. They were absolutely fantastic. And as such, so many of these Stalkers and Immortals not doing anything at the moment, allowing the Roaches to push forward. But some good force fields are preventing a lot of Pig's army from going through. And the supply count still staying very, very similar. Pig reinforcing with 35 more roaches. Of course, we see now the hatchery will start taking some damage. The Corruptor's getting taken out. The single Colossus did die exceptionally fast to that many Corruptors, but then they become useless, as we saw. The Greater Spire only just starting, the 4th base taken down. A 5th base is half done, so DreAm Archer's up there. He could be able to take it out, but he's taking his center 4th base as well, so we'll take an equal base at the worst. And now, of course, the Roach is trying to push forward. A lot of the Immortals have gone down. Some Blink Micro on its way out, using Blinding Cloud just so effectively to prevent these Stalkers from dealing too much damage, but some Abduct being used on the Immortals, trying to pick them off, but it looks like DreAm is doing very well. Drones getting pulled, which is never a good sign, and this high count's misleading due to the 17 Roaches still in production. So many drones getting taken out here. The Viper's consuming, but DreAm has been victorious. Pig GG's out, and that was a very, very nice push, and just the upgrade advantage really helped DreAm there. The positioning and the very, very high immortal count. So I hope everyone enjoyed that game. Make sure you like the video, leave a cool comment and subscribe, and I hope to see each and every one of you tomorrow for yet another new cast. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.